Hi, I am Dr. Dee Dee Curtis, and I'd like to welcome you to the Curtis World Podcast. It's where I talk about situations that are going on right here in the United States, as well as things that are going on all across the world. Today, I'm going to talk about the confirmation hearings for President Trump's cabinet and why there's so much pushback on everyone that he has suggested that he wants to serve in his cabinet. Anyway, stay tuned. Going forward, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., we know that they have had some big problems trying to confirm Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and everybody's asking why. The reason they're having a problem with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is because he has gone up against the industries who have done things who were detrimental to the health and safety of Americans, especially Big Pharma. Big Pharma has given so many campaign contributions. Almost $2 million went to the person that was opposed to him the most was Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders had this huge argument with Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and Robert F. Kennedy called him out and said, "You received almost $2 million from Big Pharma in your last campaign."
By the way, Bernie, the problem of corruption is not just in the federal agencies, it's in Congress too. Almost all the members of this panel are accepting, including yourself, are accepting millions of dollars from the pharmaceutical industry.
Protecting
their interests.
Oh.
Well, I really don't know which one Congress dislikes the most, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. or Kash Patel. And people keep asking, why are they so opposed to them? It's because these people are outsiders. They are not a part of the little group, as I call it, that have been running Washington. They've been in very big positions before, but they tend to go against the grain. And you know, in Washington, the one thing you never do is go against the grain. Let me just tell you some of the bio on Kash Patel. Kash Patel, he was a prosecutor, a federal prosecutor for the U.S. Department of Justice. He served as chief of staff to acting U.S. Secretary of Defense Christopher Miller, and senior advisor to the Director of National Intelligence, Richard Grenell. He's also been, he's a member on, he was on the Senior Council on Counterterrorism for the House Select Committee on Intelligence in 2017. And he was also a senior director of Counterterrorism Directorate at the U.S. National Security Council. Look at some of the things and some of the questioning for Kash Patel and see. But the thing about it is they do not want people that are not controlled. Kash Patel went up against them for January 6th because he worked on that, he investigated that, and he saw that President Trump did what he was supposed to do. And that's the worst thing for them because the implications that he brought out are tremendous when he says that this could have been something that was planned, and it was not planned by MAGA or President Trump. Of course, he went on the outside of the Washington establishment. He also investigated the Russia collusion hoax and said it was a hoax, something that the U.S. Senate, even in their investigation, proved that it was a hoax, and everybody knows it's a hoax now, but let's not talk about it too much. But anyway, this is Kash Patel.
What were you doing on that day?
On that day specifically, responding to preparing to mobilize and deploy the National Guard once we got the lawful request from the local governing authority, which was the mayor of D.C. and the Speaker of the House.
Now, how many days in advance were you working to prepare the Department of Defense to help secure the Capitol on January 6th?
Days in advance, Senator. We were in the Oval Office on an unrelated national security matter with the President of the United States, the Secretary of Defense, the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and myself. And the President authorized up to 20,000 plus National Guardsmen and women to secure any security measures necessary related to the Capitol. So we were moving to the fullest extent of the law before the requisite request came from a local governing authority days ahead of time.
And while you were Chief of Staff at DOD, how many times did DOD approach Capitol Police and ask if they needed National Guard assistance?
I believe those letters are well documented, numerous instances, and numerous of those instances, those requests were shut down.
Now, am I correct that the Capitol Sergeant at Arms said assistance was unnecessary?
That's correct, Senator.
Who did the Sergeant at Arms report to?
The Speaker of the House.
That would have been Nancy Pelosi at the time. Is that correct?
Yes, Senator.
And would that also be Chuck Schumer, then the Senate Majority Leader?
The Sergeant at Arms, yes, Senator, reports up there.
Did Mayor Bowser, the Democrat elected mayor in D.C., either request or allow National Guard assistance?
She put in writing on the days leading up to January 6th a declination for National Guard additional support. And that letter is available publicly to the world.
And just to speak English for folks at home, a declination meant she said no, don't send National Guard. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Now, the other person that they are having a problem with, and they're having a problem with this person, Tulsi Gabbard, because Tulsi was a Democrat, and she left the party, and then she became an independent. She's now a Republican, and oh my, they are not happy with her. So let's just look at some of her background. She is the first Samoan American in Congress. She was a U.S. rep for 8 years. She joined the Republican Party in 2021. She was a member of the Hawaii Army National Guard from 2004 to 2005. She was stationed in Kuwait. She served as the Lieutenant Colonel in the U.S. Army Reserve. She's also was vice chair of the DNC.
The American people elected Donald Trump as their president not once but twice. And yet the FBI and intelligence agencies were politicized by his opponents to undermine his presidency and falsely portray him as a puppet of Putin. Title I of FISA was used illegally to obtain a warrant to spy on Trump campaign advisor Carter Page, using a Clinton campaign-funded false dossier as their so-called evidence. Biden campaign advisor Tony Blinken was the impetus for the 51 former senior intelligence officials' letter dismissing Hunter Biden's laptop as disinformation specifically to help Biden win the election. Former DNI James Clapper lied to this committee in 2013, denying the existence of programs that facilitated the mass collection of millions of Americans' phone and internet records, yet was never held accountable.
And this is the one thing that everyone should remember. Washington is a club. And if you're not a member of the club, and it doesn't matter what party you're in, you just have to be a member of the club, because you know the club on both sides of the party, both sides of the fence, they're always going to be working together, usually on something that benefits them and that does not benefit Americans. So Donald Trump came in here and he had a mandate on November 5th of 2024 because the American people told them, we are tired of the club. We're tired of the club looking out for themselves. We're tired of all of these people that make $150,000 a year and all of them are millionaires, and we just can't figure out how they do it. We're tired of this. We want people in Washington who are going to look out for America and that's going to look out for Americans and that will not look out for just themselves. And so Donald Trump came in and he won with a mandate because everyone knows he is the ultimate outsider. I mean, they have done everything that they could possibly do to him. And so he came in and guess what he did? He looked at everybody else that were outsiders. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., same thing. He was running for president as a Democrat. And then he says, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to endorse Donald Trump. Oh my goodness. Why would he do that? And then you had Tulsi Gabbard, same thing, a Democrat. And now she's a Republican with Donald Trump. Then you have Pete Hegseth, and you know what they say about him? You know, isn't he that Fox News reporter? They have totally forgotten about his 20 years of service to the United States. Then you look at everyone that has come through. Everybody, they have totally been just so upset. And Kash Patel, I think, is their greatest concern because Kash Patel will be over the FBI. And everyone knows that for the last 8 years or so, how they have become where they are only an extension of one political party and how they have abused the system and their positions to do things to just regular Americans, and especially Donald Trump. Kash Patel is going to come in and he's going to stop that. Plus, he's going to investigate all of the criminal activities that's been going on. And you know what? He can stay there for 4 years and never leave out of Washington. He really can, because we all know how much is going on there. But he's going to send FBI agents across the country to do what law enforcement is supposed to do. That is to enforce the law. Anyway, That's just my take, and I just wanted you to know what's going on in our country and what's going on with the confirmations for Donald Trump and his cabinet.